Welcome to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Well, if you missed last week, we pulled in an HHR, and Brian, it was pulling a little bit to the right.
You think it was dragging a wheel down the street. It was just a little bit more than I thought it was going to be.
And that it was. You know, we had to go into the whole suspension system. We tore it all out. I mean, we had a broken spindle. We'll look at here on the table in a minute. But, you know, we went into the actual rack and pinion system. Yep. That was huge. Walk us through that process.
Yeah, you know, it really wasn't too bad. There were two big mounting bolts we had to get to. It was easy access with the wheels off. We actually lowered that subframe down just a little bit to give ourselves room. It wasn't bad to get that out or the new one in. Everything is torqued to spec. More inspections as we were in there, making sure there was no welds cracked, no more damage done. Feel really good about the repair. Most importantly, when we ordered everything from Rock Auto during the week, they sent in one shipment everything we needed, and that was really handy. We also made some strategic decisions, like we don't want to transfer the old coil spring over and have to go through that, even though we got the right tool for the job. Make it easy. Save yourself some time and risk by getting the whole assembly, which we did. We got the new sway bar links. You can see that's the exact same link. We're all set there. And of course, we got the axle.
Yeah, and time's money. So, you know, by the time you're doing this, you're wasting a lot of time. Time's money. You know, we're actually going through this and talking about the cost analysis. I mean, we're going to do that at the end of the show, but I think we're going to save it. I think we're going to be all right.
Absolutely. Well, let me grab the axle and the strut. I'm going to get started.
Before you do that real quick, it's really good to look at both of them. You can actually see the axle right here.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one that blown apart in the accident when it got hit. Bam, that's it. It pulled right out of the plunge joint right there.
Tripod.
It's gone. So grab that, get started, and we'll go over a couple of these other components.
See you in a few.
All right. Now, when you look at these other components right here, we're going through the spindle assembly. You actually saw the spindle up on the car, and this is pretty good because you can see right here where it's broken and separated right there. That's why we took it off with the whole strut assembly when he did. Now, the new one's located right here. I went ahead and I pulled out the hub, the whole hub. It was in good shape, so there was no need to replace it. There's no problem there. We're going to put that on in a minute. But then we go over here to the control arms, and this is interesting because Rock Auto actually sells a control arm master kit right here, which can do actually the bushings on there and along with the ball joints themselves, because a lot of control arms, you're going to have to press the ball joint in and out of there. Well, like Brian said earlier, man, we're taking an opportunity to go ahead and just save a little bit of money here and time. We got the whole unit right there. So the whole unit right there, we're going to put it in. We don't have to mess with the ball joint. Everything's right there in place. Now, the hub, just as easy as taking it over to the spindle and take it in here, slide it in here, put it in, line it up, bolt it down, torque it to specifications, and then what I'll do is I'll get these parts over, give Brian a hand. He's going to need a hand getting all this front end back together. There's a ton of work going on over there.
You're right, we're getting it done over here, John. All right, that's the third nut on the top of the strut mounting bolt. We don't have them torqued down yet. It's just so that it'll hold that in place and give us some flexibility to work with everything. We got the new CV axle supported. Hey, John, how about rolling that spindle over here?
Man, I got it ready for you.
Perfect.
Looks like you're working hard. I actually got the whole spindle assembly, Brian. I got the hub pushed in there real nice, bolted in from the backside. Got your ABS sensor, everything's tucked away. I'll tell you what, if you give me a hand, I'll support this CV axle. You want to undo it?
Got that, yep. I'll get this bungee out of your way.
I'll run it in like this here. Keep the pressure on it, and we'll just put it right up in like that. Great. You want to take it? I'll drop it down a little bit. If you want to take that strut, work it up in there.
There we go.
There we go.
Got the strut bolts laying right there for
Keep
you.
pressure
I got
on
it.
please.
Yep.
I got it. Strut bolts are right here. If we just get one in.
Get one in there and hang it.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
Golden.
And we're not, you know, we're not messing with the alignment
there
because we're going to get it close. That's perfect. Okay.
Nice. Now let's get that control arm in.
There you go.
Okay, I've got the big pin here. Right. This was actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be coming out.
Right.
We're going to go in and up and over.
Okay.
All in one.
All right. Well, I'll let you do it up in there.
There we go. Come on.
Get it up in there.
We're working.
All right. I know it's not easy. It was tough coming out of there too. Just be patient. You guys got the whole frame to go in there. The bushing's got to get sandwiched in there. All kinds of things going on there when you're moving it in.
There we go.
It is beautiful. That's fine. That's good.
Right.
All right. All right. I'll hold this side up if you want to hold that side.
Okay. Good.
Come up a
Let me get a pin in here.
All right. Go ahead. And I'll line up my side. Which way you got to go?
You got to come over.
Over.
Yep. And forward.
I don't think you're in all right.
Yeah, you got to go. Come on back.
All right. Trying.
Yep.
Oh boy. There you go.
There you go.
Perfect. All right, let me hold this side.
Okay. Hold that.
There you go. Look at that.
All right.
Should be supported.
Yeah. We'll get the ball joint in. We'll get all this reassembled, get it torqued down. That's really important. We're going to be close, but we're definitely going to need an alignment. We still have to get the steering rack connected, the sway bar link in, and we're going to be good.
Better than you and me. I'm huffing and puffing. This suspension work can get difficult. Be patient. Get your buddy, manhandle it, get it in there. It's ready to go, man. This HH is going to drive. We'll be right back with more Tech Garage presented by rockauto.com right after this message.
Going up.
Tech Garage, presented by rockauto.com, is brought to you by Neil Chance Converters, home of the world's fastest automatic door slammers. Stow and Show, show off that beautiful bumper. And by rockauto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by rockauto.com. Now, you guys have reached out on Facebook, email questions, and most of them were about tire wear patterns and a lot of alignment angles. So what a perfect time to do it. We got our HHR over there, and Brian and I have been talking about that geometry and getting it right. So let's talk tire wear patterns. Top left-hand corner right here, well, that's pretty simple. It's just an underinflated tire. It's going to wear on both sides because it's going to bulge down on the road, and that's what's going to happen. Now we move over to the right there, dead of the center of the tire, all the way around. That's overinflation, too much air. Now you have tire pressure monitors, but you still want to go out there and check it so you keep the life of your tire going. Over here on the bottom left-hand corner, well, this is actually called camber wear. I'll explain camber in a minute, but just keep these in your mind as we switch over and start looking at the angles, because you're going to understand why the tires wear like that. This last one right here on the bottom is called feathering. That's a toe in and toe out problem where it feathers the tire clean across, and we'll see that in a minute as well. Now the last one on the far right there, that's called chunking. What happens is you have bad shocks, the tire's coming off the road, bam, 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 you're getting chunking. So it's time to do an alignment. We can go to the next screen. Before you get an alignment, the first thing you want to do is get a pre-alignment inspection, because I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 cars are going to fail this pre-alignment inspection. We're talking about everything on the car: tire pressure, your bushings, your steering linkage, your power steering, your wheels, and then some pre-alignment numbers. It has to be in good shape. Everything has to be tight or alignment's not going to hold. And then we'll talk about these angles right here. The first one being toe, caster, and camber. We'll pull those out in a second. But if you look on the table right here, now rockauto.com, they have a whole shim kit, and all the shim for the different alignments, no matter what you want to do or what car you're going to work on, they have it for you. Let's talk about that first one up there. That first one up there is toe in and toe out. That's really simple. I can take my wheels right here and I could toe them in. That would be the front wheels going in that angle. If I towed them out, that would be this way. Now think about that feathering pattern I talked about earlier. It's going to feather from the inside out when they're towed out like that. If they're towed in, they're going to tow here from the outside of the tire in. That's the most tire wearing angle, and that one will wreck out a tire in no time. Now the second one we want to look at is caster, and you can see the graphic there. It's the upward and backward tilting of the steering knuckle. So if I had my knuckle go back this way, it would be negative, or forward. Good illustration of that is our chopper here. Now my chopper's going way up there, that's positive caster. You know, when you're riding on your bike and you take your hands off, that's because your wheel's way out there. It gives you good steering and good returnability. Negative caster, on the other hand, most cars don't have it, but that's a good illustration of the buggy in the store. When it goes around and it starts wiggling all over, you'll get some wander. Now that's not a tire wearing angle, but we always pull, and this is important, we always pull to the least caster. And that's important because we can actually cheat caster a little bit and go up road crown because it's not a tire wearing angle. Last one to look at right there is camber. Pull that illustration out and you can actually see the camber goes in, which is actually negative, and out, which is positive. Now you remember that angle I talked about, that tire wear? Right here. If we go out, that's positive, and I'm over-exaggerating here, but if you look, this will go around the outside of the tire. You're going to have the wear all the way around the tire. On the other hand, if we go in like that, it's going to wear around the inside of the tire. Now, tire pull, once again, the most positive camber is going to pull in that direction, and we don't want that to happen to our HHR, so I'm going to get over and give Brian a hand. We're going to get that thing close so we can get it to an alignment shop.
Well, with all that suspension work finally done, tell you what, we're getting closer. Don't forget, we still have to go get a full-blown professional alignment. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. You can see that the inner fender has a lot of damage. The actual fender is damaged, not to mention the door. The great news is rockauto.com sent us an inner fender and a new fender. Ultimately, those are going on the vehicle. Well, now, as promised, we told you we would do a driveway, pretty rogue alignment here, but you want to get this thing close so you're not, we're just going to adjust toe. You don't want to drag those tires down the street to get to the full-blown alignment shop to get that done. Camber, we're pretty close. Don't worry about that. Hey, John, can you give me a hand helping set toe here?
Yep.
Take a measurement from back first.
That's the key. We're going to take a measurement from the back of the tire and the front of the tire. And speaking of tires, Brian, what do you think of these rims? RockAuto.com also sent us these new rims all the way around because that right front was damaged. And man, that would have cost a fortune just to replace it with one factory rim.
I think our HHR could take all the help it could get. We're
What you got?
at 66 1/4 here.
66. I'll send it back to you. Throw it to the front. Let's see what we
Yep.
have.
So what we're doing, remember that adjusting
There you go.
nut?
Got it. Same
Okay.
spot in the front. Great.
Yep, 68 1/4 here.
Wow.
So that's a 2-inch delta. So you think about that adjustment nut we had on the tie rod end. If you had that set up, you'd want to back that off, go to each tie rod end, back them out about 1 inch. That's going to get you in the ballpark. Come back, check the measurement. You should get an average that's darn close.
Yeah,
Now,
no doubt about it.
If you had a parallelogram steering system like this, you would take the adjustment sleeve, loosen this, back your tie rod end out 1 inch from there, and you'd be in the ballpark.
Yep, and ours just had a lock-in nut, same difference. That's pretty awesome. You know, our HHR is awesome. It's actually ready to drive, man. I'm excited. Yeah. I think I may give you this one the keys. I'm going to keep Project M&M, but you know, we're going to switch gears and we're going to go into Garage Ed. And this week it's all about the relays and the switches. So don't switch channels. We'll be right back with more Garage Ed and more Tech Garage right after this break. Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Now we're making great progress on our Garage Ed segments, and this one's all about controls, switches, relays, stuff that makes your car work. And I want to take a look at the table here. I want to talk about some switches. Well, it could be as simple as a solenoid switch, like a starter you can see right here. Just engages. When it engages, it makes a contact and it allows the voltage to go to your starter. You could have a four-wheel drive switch, a toggle switch, but what I want to focus on is relays because they're super important, and I have a relay right here. And the important part of this relay is actually the terminals. You can see the terminals right here, 87, 30, 85, and 86. Take a look at this graphic because this is important. When we're talking about a relay, we have a control side and we have the actual load side. And 86 and 85 is the control side. That's going to be the low amps. 30 over to 87 to 87A, that's my high voltage and my high amp sides. That's what's going to run the component. So if we're dealing with a relay like this one, we're going to go ahead and use our kit here. I have two things from rockauto.com. First of all, I have a kit right here which actually pulls the relay. If you have a fuse box, that's cool. And then I have the coolest thing ever. This is a relay jump kit, and I can take it and I can open it and show you what's inside. Because inside of here you have all the different relay adapters. Now that's nice because I don't have to go poking or damaging any wires. I can just put this in series. Now our board right here, we have a couple of relays up here. AC, high pressure, low pressure, and then we have a fuel pump relay. We're going to deal with the fuel pump relay. And if I pull that out, I'm going to put our adapter here that I got at rockauto.com right in series with it, which is super cool because now I have the ability to make all my measurements and jumps if I want to jump it and see if it's actually working or the circuit's working. Got a voltmeter right here. I'm going to go to ground. When I go to ground down here, I'm going to come up, I'm going to touch terminal. That's supposed to have power right there, which is 13.97. That's good voltage. And then I want to jump that over to that, we said earlier, 30. Now be careful. You may have it at two places. One's low amps, the other one's high amps. So if I just take my fuse jumper wire, very important, and I jump 30 and 87, you can hear the fuel pump run. So what does that tell me or tell you out in the driveway? Well, it tells me your fuel pump's working, tells me your wire harness is working, but it doesn't tell you that the relay's bad. You still want to make sure you have the control side. Maybe the computer's grounding it or a switch is grounding it on the other side of the relay to magnetically pull it in. So it's pretty complex, but you know, there's a lot of switches on a car and Rock Auto has them all. So let's head over to Tom and check it out and see what he's got for us. Now, relays, switches, you know, they could be intimidating. You saw the measurements, not so easy. Tom, I'm also intimidated when I see these black boxes, relays and switches. I'm thinking I got to go to the dealer. That's not the case. You guys have this as well.
Right, yeah, sometimes if it's a box that's hot and you're not even sure what it is, you just know, hey, that shouldn't be that hot, it needs to be replaced. If you can read a part of a part number or the entire part number, we have a part number search tab where you just type in the bit of number you have. If you can't read a number, just put an asterisk in, and it'll pull up examples of what it likely is. And here we can see I entered a relay number, and sure enough, there's the relay.
Now, this is hugely important because, I mean, relays, they could be 4 pins, 5 pins. I mean, they're all different, and they're actually vehicle specific. So, I mean, I got the part number, I'm getting the right relay, and more importantly, I'm getting it from rockauto.com. I don't have to spend 3 times as much at the dealer.
Right, yeah, people assume a lot of complicated looking parts are dealer only, and yeah, we have body control modules, engine control modules, instrument clusters. The high-tech parts you would think would be dealer only, and it might be, hey, I can't afford to repair this. Well, you actually can. So.
Now, we saw some interesting tools over there, man. I love it. I just, you know, as an instructor, I'm talking about diagnostic tools. I wouldn't expect that at all. I found them on your website. Why don't you show our viewers where that stuff's at?
We have the tools and universal parts tab, and it's arranged like it is for specific cars under electrical and body, and there's a tool section. The tools you were using are under electrical, switch, and relay. We have the relay test jumper, the pliers. There's lots of fun tools. You don't even know they exist until you get in there and have fun looking around. And you say, wow, I've been struggling with needle nose pliers and then my elbow trying to get that to work for all these years. And there's a tool that makes it easy.
Yeah, and there's a tool to make a lot of things easy. Just go to the website and check it out. But stick around. There's plenty more Tech Garage presented by Rock Auto. Right after this break, we're coming back with the video question of the week.
Tech Garage, presented by rockauto.com, is brought to you by Bullet Liner. Think outside the bed liner. Mechanics Mate, quality tools made with precision. And by rockauto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by rockauto.com. Now, Brian and I love hearing from you guys, hence the video question of the week. Brian, this is cool because he's learned something in a prior episode.
That's awesome. You guys are asking some great questions. Keep them coming, and we love the fact that you're watching the shows. Let's take a look.
This is my Dodge work truck. It's got a rattle in the front end. I already learned how to check the suspension on your show, but can't seem to find the rattle. What y'all think is the best way to find it?
Well, Jake, we love it that you learned something on the show. Heck, we love it that you're watching the show. That's pretty cool. But Jake, don't overlook the obvious. We always go back to the basics here. I mean, suspension, we'll show you some inspections, but don't forget about the sway bar links. I mean, look at this. This one's wore out right here. You can see it pull down. I pulled this one off, not too many miles. Very, very common. Rattle, kind of hard to find, but breaking all the time, Brian. So is our Firebird.
That'll create a rattle all day long. You know what? I checked on the Firebird here. As soon as I put pressure up, this sway bar link fell right out in my hands. It was broken and just rattling around in there. It wasn't making a lot of noise, but there it is.
Yep, snapped right off.
Right
man.
off.
Nothing to it.
Thankfully, Moog has a problem solver for that.
I love this.
We got a new kit we can put on both sides.
And the cool part about that is you actually have the extra piece right here. So if it's not loaded up or not broken like this, you can go ahead and extend it, and everything's going to come through, and you can pull it all back together.
Makes it so much easier.
Yeah, that's going to be a piece of cake. All right.
Thank you.
Put this back in
I'll
for
get
you.
this going. Yep.
All right. So we put that in there. Jake, I mean, the suspension, that's awesome, but rattles, a lot of times you can use a rubber mallet. Rubber mallet's great because it makes everything vibrate. So you're just hitting everything, listening, following the vibrations here. Exhaust systems, very common rattles. The exhaust pipes, the dust shields, the heat shields on all of that stuff. You know, sway bar links, suspension, any components. Rubber mallet does a great job. Suspension checks, once again, don't be afraid to use a pry bar, man. Grab a pry bar. You got the bushings on the rack and pinion right there, the bushings on this control arm back and forth, ball joints, whatever it may be, even the sway bar links. You can wiggle and pull on that. Man, don't be afraid to tug on the suspension.
Absolutely. That was easy. We'll do that the other side. We'll get both of those torqued down. I feel really good about that repair. Thinking of suspension, tell you what, we learned a lot on that HHR project.
We did, you know, Brian, and throughout the whole show, I'm kind of wondering if the car was worth it. You're an expert when it comes to cost mitigation. What'd you find for us?
Well, when he said it came in with a slight pull to the right, I started the calculator and was keeping track through the whole thing.
This is a little better than my drawn.
There you go, yeah, a little bit. You know, that car is worth about $2,500 with some cosmetic damage to the outside, 100,000 miles. That was our starting point. If we would have paid externally to get that done, it would have been at least a $1,650 repair. Instead, with the brilliant partner we've got in rockauto.com, we got everything we needed, spent the time in the shop. We have just under $500 into the project. We saved almost $1,200. So if you do the back of the napkin math, our vehicle still remains being a little over $2,000 in value versus an $850 vehicle if we'd have paid somebody to do that for us.
Totally worth it, and a great DIY job in the driveway. Brian, one thing though I can't live with, rusty rotors and stuff. We just put it together. We want to go ahead and drive it, give it an inspection, come back. I'm going to bring that one back into Tech Garage, man. I'm not feeling comfortable.
One step ahead. I've already ordered the calipers, rotors, and new pads for the HHR. We're set.
Well, that's a good thing. We can't do it today, folks, because we're out of time. You know, keep those Facebook, Twitter, YouTube questions, comments, and even concerns. We love to hear from you. We'll be back next week with more Tech Garage presented by rockauto.com.
Production assistance for Tech Garage is provided by Cibola College, located in Marianna, Florida. Founded in 1947, Cibola was ranked recently as one of the top 3 community colleges in the United States.